Cheating. No, I don't mean extramarital affairs, I mean cheating in video games. Cheating has existed for as long as actual video games themselves. At the end of the day, who can resist the temptation of an easy victory in an otherwise difficult game? Well, as it turns out, a lot of people can, actually. But the fact that people can ruin your own gaming experience by cheating online sucks. And in this case, it directly affects Steam Deck users. Let's talk about that, shall we? For those who don't know, GTA 5 is getting an anti-cheat system. After 9 years of being on PC without an anti-cheat system, and without Rockstar caring, all of a sudden they care now. So Rockstar implemented BattleEye, which is an anti-cheat that's used in quite a few games. One more thing too, BattleEye also supports Proton so long as the developers enable it. Same deal with Easy Anti-Cheat as well. I mean, it sounds like great news, right? Rockstar implementing an anti-cheat for Grand Theft Auto Online, a game that's known for being a cheater's haven? 9 years too late, but I guess it's better than nothing, right? Wrong. See, the big issue is that despite the fact that BattleEye supports the Steam Deck so long as the developers enable it, Rockstar chose not only to not enable it, but to claim that BattleEye straight up doesn't work on Steam Deck. Now, we know this is false because there are BattleEye games that work on Steam Deck, like PlanetSide 2, and BattleEye themselves have also claimed that it works on Steam Deck, yes. So is Rockstar just lying to us? It's one thing if the underlying game doesn't work with Linux very well, like I can understand that. But here's the crazy part. GTA 5 not only works very well on Steam Deck, it's one of the most played games on Steam Deck, period. And because of this very move, Grand Theft Auto 5 went from a playable rating to an unsupported rating. And I guess it makes sense, half of the game no longer runs on Steam Deck, the online half I mean. You can still play the single player game just fine so long as you disable BattleEye. But plenty of people played Grand Theft Auto Online, portably, on their Steam Decks. Rockstar all of a sudden patching Grand Theft Auto 5 so that the online doesn't work on Steam Deck is insane. And it brings up two major issues with the Steam Deck that many people really didn't want to talk about or even think about, and I'm here to talk about them now. One of the biggest issues with Steam Deck, nay, SteamOS, nay, Linux as a whole, is that a lot of online multiplayer games are just straight up unplayable, almost entirely because of anti-cheat. The two biggest anti-cheat suppliers, Easy Anti-Cheat and BattleEye, have an option for developers to enable Linux support, which in turn would enable Steam Deck support as well. Both statements from Easy Anti-Cheat and BattleEye make it sound like you can just flip a switch and it'll just work on Steam Deck automatically, automagically even. But I'm definitely sure it's a little more complicated than that. And yet, many developers that use Easy Anti-Cheat and BattleEye refuse to enable support for Steam Deck. In the beginning of the Steam Deck's lifespan, there were plenty of games enabling Steam Deck support, which was great, and even games that don't use those two anti-cheats, like DJ Max Respect V, ended up getting Steam Deck support. And yes, we're getting more and more multiplayer games that work on Steam Deck, either because they don't have an anti-cheat or because they just enable anti-cheat support out of the box. But of course, some of the most popular games out there, like Valorant or Destiny 2, or now Grand Theft Auto 5, straight up do not support Steam Deck, and by extension Linux. And honestly at this point, they probably never will. I've been holding out to play Destiny 2 on my Steam Deck for a bit now, and to be honest, I've given up on that dream almost entirely. And to be honest, Grand Theft Auto 5 was already 9 years old at this point. I didn't think it would get an anti-cheat system, and I also didn't think that they would just straight up abandon Steam Deck support. Now, I suspect this has something to do with Grand Theft Auto 6, but who knows for certain, and I'm not in contact with any Rockstar employees or any Rockstar leakers, but I'm sure someone is going to come out and say something about this pretty soon. And on the topic of anti-cheat games and games straight up not supporting Linux, let's talk about Concord, the internet's least favorite game. Now, Concord failed for a variety of different reasons, but I'm going to throw this one out there. As per Valve themselves, they classify PlayStation Overlay as an anti-cheat. And yes, you see where I'm going with this. Concord required PlayStation Overlay, and as such, Concord did not work on Steam Deck. Now, I'm not saying Steam Deck support would have saved Concord, But what I am saying is that Ghost of Tsushima's multiplayer mode also doesn't work on Steam Deck either. Okay, enough Sony. The second major issue is that developers say that supporting Linux is more trouble than it's worth. Facepunch Studios, the guys behind Rust, claim that they discontinued Linux support in 2019 because of rampant cheating from Linux, that the cheating community came from Linux. And yes, even the guys behind Roblox claim that there was more cheating when they let Roblox run via Wine. It makes it sound like all Linux players are cheaters, or that cheaters will flock to Linux just to get their cheating fix on. I don't doubt these claims, but I do want to see the numbers. Most of these guys are bigger developers that take down numbers, lots and lots of numbers. So it's definitely possible that they have this data point somewhere, but I've never seen it published anywhere. And I want to see it published somewhere. I want some developer to just show me the numbers. But it does have me questioning a lot of things, because what's the difference between someone going to Linux and then cheating there versus someone just making a brand new account on Windows every time they get banned? Like, seriously. I've seen cheaters buy multiple copies of games on multiple different accounts just so that they could, well, keep playing a game even after they get banned for cheating. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, but it's also something that happens. I've seen a bunch of CSGO cheaters buy a bunch of keys for CSGO back when it used to be a paid game. And they would just save those keys for whenever they get banned. They could just activate on a new account and they'd just play again, cheating again. Okay, I'm sorry, that was way too much rambling, but the point is that I don't really see a difference between someone going to Linux and someone just making a new account over and over again on Windows. Does it take longer for the anti-cheat to detect Linux cheaters as opposed to Windows cheaters? Is that how it is? And what about the fact that cheaters are apparently starting to use 2 computers instead of 1 for cheating? Yes, that is a thing. Run the game on one computer and then run the cheat on another computer. At the end of the day, the Steam Deck's biggest weakness is still games with anti-cheat. There are plenty of games that work, yes, but there's even more that don't work, or developers that just will not enable support despite being able to. I understand they have to put more resources to support the Steam Deck, but a company like Rockstar has the manpower and the resources to do this. They have a bunch of money. GTA 5 was a cash cow for a very long time, and it still is their cash cow. GTA 6 is going to be that new cash cow. It's guaranteed to sell no matter what the actual quality of the game is. That's just how it's gonna be. Rockstar can afford to not only enable support, but also actively support it with personnel and resources as well. A lot of people are saying that the Steam Deck is showing its age because a lot of newer titles like Dragon's Dogma 2 and Final Fantasy 16 don't really run all that well on Steam Deck. But that's a lot better than a game like Grand Theft Auto 5 or Destiny 2 not running on Steam Deck at all thanks to anti-cheat issues, because that stuff carries over to the Steam Deck too. Like Dragon's Dogma 2 and Final Fantasy 16 will run better on a Steam Deck too. That's basically a given. But a game like Destiny 2 that refuses to enable Steam Deck support, that still won't run on a Steam Deck too, because they won't enable support for the Steam Deck at all. And of course, because this is about anti-cheat, I have to talk about that recent story in regards to Microsoft and kernel access. Many, and I really do mean many, outlets ran with the story that Microsoft is supposedly killing kernel access for security and anti-cheat. Like, all of a sudden, if Microsoft suddenly kicks all of the anti-cheat devs out of the kernel, that all of a sudden anti-cheat would just work on Linux, like all games that have anti-cheat would work on Linux, like Valorant of all things? No, that's not how that's gonna be. We have to recognize the fact that Microsoft didn't say they would kick people out of the kernel, that they would just enable options outside of the kernel, especially in regards to security. But you know anti-cheat developers aren't going to settle for that. And even if Microsoft pulls off a miracle and actually kicks everyone out of the Windows kernel, that's still not going to change anything, because they're still going to blacklist Linux. Let's be perfectly clear, remember Destiny 2? Destiny 2 uses BattlEye, the very same BattlEye that Grand Theft Auto 5 is now using. And yes, BattlEye lets developers enable Linux support, purely as an opt-in feature. The fact that Bungie still doesn't enable Linux support, even after BattlEye enabled Linux support, even while the game is actively bleeding players, says everything. Game devs will still find ways to keep Linux players out of their online games. I don't doubt the existence of the Linux cheater, but I do understand that all of those games that actively block Linux players still have rampant cheating issues on Windows, and it makes no difference. Some might ask, why can't Valve just mandate Steam Deck support if they want to be on Steam? And honestly, Valve doesn't want to piss off their partners, their developer partners. And of course, it could be seen as a monopolistic action. I'm not really sure what more I can say. Anti-cheat support is still the Steam Deck's biggest weakness, and it'll also be the Steam Deck 2's biggest weakness as well. I think Valve and some of the anti-cheat vendors have done everything they can to make their anti-cheat stuff work on Linux. But now it's just a matter of developers. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos. And if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.